Did you make me a host?
Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos to our exactly minion. Look at that. Ah, how wonderful. And many more than a minion already on screen. Um, we are, hmm? Yeah, 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 well, we're that pluralistic. So we have one set up with just the panoply view where we are experimenting. Anytime you want to look at what says Rabbi Fred, because that's just my Android, uh, you can take a look at the community. And we are about to begin. Take a deep breath. Page 141. In honor of the Shaked, the early arrival, Rav Manny, this is a melody that I learned from him. Manny, good Shabbos. I hope I do this justice. 141. Matovu ohalecha, matovu ohalecha, matovu ohalecha Yaakov. Ay mishkenotecha, ay mishkenotecha, ay mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani berov chastecha, avo betecha. Eshtachave El Heichal Kodechecha B'yiratecha. Matovu ohalecha, matovu ohalecha, matovu ohalecha Yaakov. Ay mishkenotecha, ay mishkenotecha, ay mishkenotecha Yisrael. Last line. Va'ani tefilati lecha. Adonai et ratzon. Elohim berov chastecha aneni be'emet yishecha. Matovu ohalecha, matovu ohalecha, matovu ohalecha Yaakov. Ay mishkenotecha, ay mishkenotecha, ay mishkenotecha Israel. 151 and following. L'shemichu kuchabrichu shchintehe. Hineni muchanu mzuman lekabel alai mitzvat seshel ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your fellow as yourself. Ubizchut zeh eftach pi. Rising as maybe our preference. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu le'olamim hama'avir shina me'inai utnuma me'afapai. Baruch at Ya Eloheinu le'olamim hanotenet l'sechvidina lavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu le'olamim roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch at Ya Eloheinu le'olamim pokachat ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu le'olamim malbish arumim. Baruch at Ya Eloheinu le'olamim matira asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu le'olamim zokef kefufim. Baruch at Ya Eloheinu le'olamim hamechinam mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu le'olamim she'asa li kol tzorki. Baruch at Ya Eloheinu le'olamim ozeret Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu le'olamim oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch at Ya Eloheinu le'olamim she'astani b'tzalma. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu le'olamim she'asani ben chorin. Baruch at Ya Eloheinu Cheolamim she'astani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Cheolamim hanoten le'yaef koach. Inviting Harry Holzer to join us. Honored to have Harry back on the bima for the first time in a while. Actually, pretty much everyone who steps forward, it's the first time in quite a while. 177.
Shabbat shalom. Baruch Shemar B'Hayahu Laham Baruch Hu. Yachid Cheolamim Melech Meshubach for Dei Shmo Hagadol Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Mula Batishbacho. Amen. So Fred invited me to pick out a couple of psalms that grabbed me, and none of them did. So I'm going to substitute something that Fred calls psalm-like. Yedid Nefesh on page 7, usually done on Friday nights, but we can do it here. And as most of you know, there's actually two well-known tunes for Yedid Nefesh. There's a more traditional Yedid Nefesh, and then there's a more modern Yedid Nefesh. So why don't we, as we often do in Recon, why don't we do the first two traditional, and then the last two modern? Really, that's okay. Yedid, so page 7. Yedid Nefesh av harachama mishoch avdecha enecha yaharutz avdecha kemo ahaya yishtachavehem el muhadarecha. Avatecha el na rifahana.
Hannah, can you let Fred know that we aren't hearing them?
I think we need to have all of the mics closed except for the one we're hearing.
I cannot close.
Yes, you can. You can mute all of us, Hannah. There's a way to do that as the host.
I know. I'm looking. I'm muting all. Yes. Okay. Is everybody muted now?
Mute yourself as well.
Hannah, Fred is muted.
Shelley, Fred is not muted.
His second screen was muted, Hannah. Not the first one, but the second one was muted. I don't know whether it matters.
Wait, okay, sorry. Now you can hear. I was saying, for want of a dongle, the kingdom was lost. So we are going to try to keep this going using Verizon's data plan, and we'll see how well that works.
Shelley, is everything okay now?
It was, but Fred just muted.
Totally by accident. While I tried to get this going, I will log in on the other computer and we shall pray. Thank you. Took a minute, but okay, good. Okay. We were just moving to
Page 231. I had actually forgotten the tune for this, with each passing year, a few of the tunes get hazier and hazier. So Fred recharged my batteries. Kol haneshama tehalel ya, hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehalel ya, hallelujah. Hallelujah, el bekacho, hallelujah. Birkiazo, hallelujah, bigurota, hallelujah, kero, good Lord. All I need shamate, hallelujah. All I need shamate, hallelujah. 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 Bete kashafar. Hallelujah. Beneva bechino. Hallelujah. Beton fumacho. Hallelujah. Beminibuka. Oh, shamate. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Neshama te hallelujah. 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 Betil tzalei shama. Hallelujah. Betil tzalei trua. Hanshama te hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama te hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama te hallelujah. Hallelujah.
testing if this will work. Hold on. Back to the camera on the phone. And a wing and a prayer. Can't give up. Okay. Continue.
Page 241, middle of the page. Shochenachad maro v'kadosh shemaho. Techatuv banu tzadikim baronai le'sharim tavatihila b'fi sharim tihigroma divrei tzadikim tifahara uvilshon chasidim tihikadash uvekerev kadoshim tihitahalav. Page 243. Yeshtabach Shimcha Lahad Malkeinu. Brachot v'hodahot me'atav yad olam baruch atah Adonai el melech gadol batishbachot el hodahot Adonai niflaot habochem shirei zimra melech elchei ha'olamim. Page 245. Yikada v'yikada shemei rabba v'yamad yirachutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayecho bein Yisrael b'hagala Uvizman kari v'meruame Yeheshme Rabba Mivara Le'alam Le'ome Homaya Yibara Ve'yishtabach B'pravi Romani Yikase Ve'yitadar V'yitala Shmei Kutsha B'richu Li'ela Min Kol B'chata V'shirata Tush B'chata V'nechemata Damiran De'alma V'meru. Amen. Page 247. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elchom. Yotzer Oru Borei Posher. Poseh Shalom Uborei et HaKol. Page 253. El Adon al kol hamasim baruch umdora fikol neshama kadlo betuva umale olam dahatu tvuna sovidimoto hamihikoher al hayot hakodesh neder bechavod al hamerkava zechut umishor lifnei kisot Hesed berachamim lifnei chodo Tovim mehorot shebara Eloheinu Saram b'dat b'vino u'vasken Koach u'pura natan bahem Liot moshlim b'kerev teher Muleim zivum fikim noga Na'eziva b'chol ha'olam Shemechem b'tzeitam V'sasim b'voam Osi be'hem ha'ritzon tolam Ha'er b'chavod notnim lishmot Hala berina V'zecher malchuto Kara v'shemesh V'yizra'or ra'avehim Surat Havana Shabbat no nimo Kol seva maron Tiferet ugdula, srafim elfanim, srafim elfanim. Page 268. We'll read the English below the line. Every day, creation is renewed. Together, please. Wake up and see unfolding in the spreading light of dawn, the world and all it contains, coming into being new, fresh, filled with divine goodness and love. Everyday creation is renewed, reflected in the great lights. We see a new day, one precious day, eternity. Page 269, bottom. Or Shahal Tzion Tahir, Vanishkech Umanu Mehera Leoro, Baruch Adonai Yotzer Hamiyoro. Page 275, second paragraph. Ve'havienu shalom me'arba kanfot haaretz v'tohu komemiu le'artzeinu ki el poel yeshuotata V'keratanu shimcha hagadol, l'shimcha hagadol, sela b'yemet, sela b'yemet, l'hodot l'cha, u'yachedcha, l'hodot l'cha, u'yachedcha b'yahava, Baruch Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 277. Together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol vavcha B'chol nafshecha B'chol meyodecha V'chayu hadvarim ha'ela Asher anochi mitzavcha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam l'vanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shaftecha u'tkumecha u'kshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha Uchtabtam Amzot Beitecha Uvisharecha. And we continue on page 291. Tehilot Lilayon Baruchum Baraha Moshe Miriam Meisri Lachanu Shira Besimcha Rabba B'Yomruhu Kula Mi Chamocha Be'elim Adonai Mi Chamocha Neder B'Kodesh Nohora Tehilot Go Seifele Shira Parasha Shubogiolim Shimcha Sfat Hayam Yachad Kulam Hoduvim Lichu V'Yameru
Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vahed. Sur Yisrael, Huma Be'ezra Yisrael, Ufdechenu Mecha, Yehuda Ve'Yisrael. Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, God Yisrael.
Amidah, page 295.
Adonai Sifatai Tifta Ufia Gitehilatecha. Adonai Sifatai Tifta Ufia Gitehilatecha. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu Bimotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chazdei Avot Ve'imo, Maybe Gula Libnei B'neihem L'man Shemo V'Yahava Melech Ozer Moshiach Mageh Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Abraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor L'Olam Adonai Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatah Mekachel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye Kol Chai Berachamim Rabbi, Somech Noflim Berofech Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Achar. Michamocha ba'agurot, umidomela, melech meimid, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, deneman atalach Yehud kol chai, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh kol chai. Page 303. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Kishem shemach b'shimoto b'shmei maharon, Kakatuv v'yagdieta v'karazel zeh amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot Melech Haaretz Kevodo. Ahaz B'Kol Rash Gadol Adiv Chazak Mashmim Ko Minasim Limatzrafim Leyumatam Baruch Yomeru Baruch Adonai Mimkomo Mimkomcha Malkeinu Mimkomcha Malkeinu Tofia Vetimloch Aleinu Ki Mechakim Anachnu Lach Matai Timloch B'Tzion Bekarov B'Yameinu Le'olam Va'ed Tishkon Tigadash B'toch Yerushalayim Yericha Ledor Vador Ulenetzach Netzachim Ve'einenu Tirena Ve'einenu Tirena Malchuteta Kadavavon Amur b'shirei uzecha, Amur b'shirei uzecha. Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion, Ledor vador, Hallelujah. Ledor vador, Nagi God lecha. Ulenetzach netachim kedushatcha nakdish ledor vador. Nagi God lecha. Ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish v'shivchacha Eloheinu. Mikenu lo yamush le'olam ba'ed Ki el melech gadol gadol v'kadosh atah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. And we continue silently until page 323.
The silent prayer now. I didn't want to leave it. I didn't want to miss any of this stuff. Not a great voice, but so weird.
Who is he?
I don't know.
I don't hear anything.
We are wrapping up our own silent Amida 306 through 323. We come together in a moment.
Okay, we conclude the Amidah at the bottom of page 323. Ohoseh shalom bimrama, uyaseh shalom aleinu,
Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, oseh shalom b'mromah. Uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'himru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaakov Shetei Tehel Imru, Amen. Amen.
Harry Holzer back on the bima. Thank you. A gift. Thanks. Welcome to everyone who has joined since the Troubles. How is the sound? Between a 1 and a 10, or just thumbs, right? Funny delay. Great. Okay, perfecto, someone says. Thank you, Courtney. Okay, we are off to the races, ladies and gentlemen, and people of other big genders. We're retraining ourselves. Page 357. Yes. Those of you who read the Shabbat message, and there'll be a longer one coming tonight for Chodesh Tov, this is, of course, the first day of Av. We embrace it with the unique mix of knowing that it is Rosh Chodesh, and every Rosh Chodesh we say Chodesh Tov, no matter what's going on in our lives or in the world or on our calendar. We affirm the possibility of joy. And yet today is also the first of the 9 days of very focused communal mourning that, of course, culminates on Tisha B'Av. And we'll see many of you a week from tonight. A week from now, Kevin will be leading a beautiful minyan, and I hope many of us will be gathered here too. And then at 8 p.m., as the fast begins, we join for lamentations, eicha, and reflections. So we have this funny mix of happy and sad at this particular moment. And ain't that life? So even as we know that we have entered the anniversary of the death and destruction that befell our ancestors time and again, we muster all the joy within us. A little bit like in the face of the devastation of this country and the world over the past year and a half, some would say longer, we still affirm the possibilities of connection and hope. And yes, joy. Page 357, rising as we are able for the traditionally mandated partial Hallel for Rosh Chodesh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et hahallel. It's a little high holiday, but it'll work. Page 361. And there are instruments in the front row. And if you're at home, feel free to grab anything. B'tzeit Yisrael, Mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov, Me'am Lo'ez. B'tzeit Yisrael, Mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov, Me'am Lo'ez. Hayta Yehuda lekadsho, Yisrael mamshlotav, hayam ra'av hayanos, hayarden so be'achor, b'tzeit Yisrael mitzrayim, beit Yaakov be'am lo'ez. ההרים רקדו כאלים, גבעות כבני צאן, מלך הים כי תנוס, הירדן כי סוף לאחור, בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז, בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז. מלך הים כי תנוס, הירדן תיסוב לאחור, ההרים תרקדו כאלים, גבעות כבני צאן. Bringing the key down just a little bit, if that's okay. Milifnei Adon, Chuli Aretz, Milifnei Elohai Yaakov, Hahofi Hatzur, Agamayim, Kalamish, Lemanomayim. Page 365 in the middle. Adonai Zacharanu Yevarech, Yevarech et Yisrael, Yevarech et Aharon, Yevarech Yirei Adonai, Aktanim im Adolim, Yosef Adonai Alehem, Alehem ve'avnechem, Beruchim atem Adonai, Oseh shamayim ba'aretz, shamayim l'Adonai, ve'ha'aretz natan libnei Adam, lo ha'metim hallelujah, ve'lo kol yordei duma, v'anachnu nevarech Yah. Me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, Hallelujah. 371, picking up on all those hallelujahs, hallels, and hallelujahs. Hallelujah, Adonai. Oh, goyim shabchuhu, shabchuhu, kol ha'umim, ki gavar aleinu, chasto be'emet, Adonai, le'olam hallelujah. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chasto, yomana, yomana, yomana Yisrael ki le'olam. Ki le'olam chasto, Yom Runa, Beit Aharon, Ki le'olam chasto, Yom Runa, Yireh Adonai, Ki le'olam. Ki le'olam chasto. Top of 373. Mina meza karatia, anani ma metavia. Mina meza karatia, anani ma metavia. Anani, anani, anani ma metavia. Anani, 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 Amekavya. Last line, final line on 373. Ozi Vizimratya Vaihi Lishua Ozi Vizimratya Vaihi Lishua Ozi Vezimadya Vayehi Lishua Ozi Vezimadya Vayehi Lishua Ozi Vezimadya Vayehi Lishua Ozi Vezimadya Vayehi Lishua. Page 375, the last two lines. And before we jump into Pete Huli, a reminder why we are saying this particular Hallel now. Rosh Chodesh Av, which Gevalt means that we are 29 and a quarter days from Rosh Chodesh Elul. And 58 and a half lunar days from Rosh Hashanah. A little bit like around Halloween time at CVS and Giant, the Christmas decorations already come out, right? Only 58 and a half tshuva days until Rosh Hashanah. Get your tshuva now, 30% off. So a serious reflection for just a moment, that even though it's early summer, and even though some of you are logging in from the beach or the mountains, perhaps with great Wi-Fi, perhaps with spotty, it may be better than in here, but you are enjoying and we are feeling the release, and it's still kind of early July. And yet we are beckoned. Pitchu li sha'arei tzedek, open for me the gates of righteousness, not just the gates of love and acceptance, not just the gates of forgiveness and repentance, not just the gates of community and family, justice. Yeah, we got some work to do. Pitchu li sha'arei tzedek avovam odeya. Pitchu li sha'arei tzedek avovam odeya. Ze ashar l'Adonai tzadikim יבואו בו, זה השער לאדוני, צדיקים יבואו בו. 377, עודך כי עניתני ותהי לי לישועה. עודך כי עניתני ותהי לי לישועה. אבן מסו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה. אבן מסו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה. מאת אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נפלאת בעינינו. מאת אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נפלאת בעינינו. זה היום עשה אדוני, נגילה ונשמחה בו. זה היום עשה אדוני, נגילה ונשמחה בו. This is the day God has made. Let us rejoice and be grateful in it. We say that on holidays, but we mean it every single day. And if we tune into that, then the next part automatically happens. Adonai Hosiana. Adonai Hosiana. Adonai Hatzlichana. Adonai Hatzlichana. 379. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, baruch nechem b'beit Adonai. El Adonai ve'er lanu, yisruchag b'avotimat karnot hamizbeach. Eliata ve'odeka, Elohai aromemeka. Eliata ve'odeka, Elohai aromemeka. Somewhere in there. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chasto. Yehallelu Adonai Ki lecha tov lehodot u'l'shimcha na'el zamer ki me'olam ad olam ata el. Baruch atah Adonai melech mehulav batishpacho. You may be seated, albeit briefly. Thank you. Always fun. Sound check, still with us? People on screen? Excellent. All right. Momentarily, we're going to take out the Torah for the last time in the book of Numbers, shockingly enough. And we are reading from not one and not two, but three parshiot. But luckily, they are all adjacent to each other, so one scroll will suffice. Double week Torah portion, Matot and Maseh, plus the traditional maftir for Rosh Chodesh. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Frankly, a lot of challenging stuff coming up, and we'll get there in just a moment. In terms of roles, we have, I believe, the first aliyah still available, as well as the person who would like to hold the Torah and perhaps, for only the second time in eons, bring it around the community. Amy, thank you. That's for the holding and walking. Okay, first aliyah. George, thank you. Excellent. And then we will need Hagba and Galila, who's feeling energetic. Hagba, Mark, thank you. Leela? Thank you. Awesome. Okay, and then Bob, your hand went up. So how about, no, okay. I was going to say return the Torah to the arts. Yeah. Okay, golden. All right, thank you all. And again, thanks to Harry for being our Shaliach Tzibur this morning. And we are just going to do the abbreviated opening Torah liturgy so that we can get the Torah quickly out into the community, onto the shulchan. And please join us. Page 383. We're going to jump right to the last two lines. Avarachami etivaretzon etzion kivne chomot Yerushalayim kivne chomot Yerushalayim Kivecha levad batachnu ruach elam venisa adon olam Vayhi binso Aaron vayomer Moshe Huma Adonai v'yachutzu oivecha Ve'anusu misanecha mipanecha ki mitzion tetzeh Torah ki mitzion tetzeh Torah udvar Adonai miYerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Le'amot Yisrael Pete Hooley is so good. Let's sing it again. Bottom of 385. Pete Hooley Sharei Tzedek Avuvam Odeyah Pete Hooley Sharei Tzedek Avovam Odeyah Zeh Hashar Ladonai Tzadikim Yavovo Zeh Hashar Ladonai Tzadikim Yavo. Page 393, Amy will lead and we respond.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Gadol Shema.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Gadol Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, unerom lema, Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula, ve'ayivura, ve'atiferet, ve'anetzach, ve'ahu. Yeah. So that's really good. But I would say, don't worry about it right now. But if you slip out and you get a sense that we're still going in 30 minutes when we put the Torah back, it'd be just really cool to have that. Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks. Great to see you. Yes. Okay. Kadoshu, remember Adonai Eloheinu, remember Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtakavu leharkacho, Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. You got the tour. Sound and sight still hanging in there for everyone on Zoom? Okay. You are now up close and personal with the Torah. Wow. Kaleidoscope as it spun down the shulchan. Sorry about that. Okay. Matot and Maseh. And just a very quick introduction to the middle chunk. This picks up on all kinds of narrative strands, and some of them, frankly, are painful. And that includes the massacre of the Midianites. In the middle of the story of the sort of sharing of the booty, the spoils of war, after all the Midianite men were executed and all the Midianite women were taken for human trafficking, and all of the Midianite children were taken as slaves by us, according to the mythic account. In the middle of that, at least the officers have some decency and say, we refuse any of the spoils. In fact, we are going to offer a sacrifice as kapara for our souls, that word of atonement. There's no other hint in there that they are on such a different page, but leadership calls for higher ethical standards. And in this one case, it delivers. So we went out of our way for a reading from Matot, the first of our combined weekly Torah portions. And this year we're reading in that middle chunk, so we had to find something between the third and the fifth traditional of 7 breakdowns. And this is the one that jumped out. So we're going to just kind of go there. For Maseh, at the end, we're going to hear the very final verses, which remind us not only of the famous daughters of Tzlafchad, but specifically their names. Say their names. What an important thing in a tradition that so often doesn't preserve what wasn't deemed important at the time. Men's names outstrip women's names in the Bible roughly 10 to 1. Not 10% more, 1,000% more. So where we have 5 women's names in one sentence, we read them, and we read them proud. But just before that, to make sure we touch that middle chunk that we're reading from, we're going to hear about the Levitical cities. And this is the opening of the passage about the famous cities of refuge, that we were supposed to have as many as 48 all throughout the country, so that you are always close by to a place where if you are guilty of manslaughter, but not premeditated murder, but the revenge cycle might continue and they're out to get you, then you run to one of these cities of refuge. And it's such a remarkable thing to be able to say there's a societal institution that can protect the vulnerable, that everyone buys into. It was understood in the biblical narrative that you don't go into the Levitical city after that person. right? Like you don't go into the church after the undocumented person who is taking refuge, or synagogue. There's something incredibly powerful about the notion of holy space. The Levitical cities, everyone else was into agriculture because all the other tribes got land. The Levites only got their little postage stamp. In a sense, they were the first modern people, right? All they have is this. They're dependent on the means of production spread out everywhere. And they exist to some extent at the goodwill of the other tribes, but they also provide leadership for those other tribes. And out of the cities comes the ethics and the norms and the laws that will move society forward. So in Numbers 35, 1 through 4, that's the chunk that we're going to look at, we hear about the migrash, open land. So if you want to flip ahead to page 1123 at the bottom, or 1244 at the bottom. 1123 in the new, or 1244 in the old. And I just want to give you the Rashi to explain how tradition understands. Rashi in the 11th century has memorized the entire Talmud, and to help us who haven't memorized the entire Talmud, he brings the highlights to explain how this was understood by our ancestors 1,000 years before him. And here he is 900 years before us. On verse 2, migrash and open land, this is an area consisting of an open space round about the city outside it, serving to beautify the city. Kind of amazing. Frederick Law Olmsted and the 1901 Macmillan Plan for City Beautiful Washington did not birth the city beautiful notion. It's right here from the Talmud, from Rashi. This open space beautifies the city. It was not permitted to build houses there, nor to plant vineyards, nor to sow a plantation. It is open space. It's for cattle, but it's also for human beauty, for appreciation of the different kinds of nature. That you would have city, and you would have open space, and you would have cultivated space beyond that, and forested space beyond that. A remarkable image, whether that's our ideal, the idea that that kind of urban planning was baked already into our ancient consciousness. I think it's cool. Ulechol chayatam. In verse 3, for all of their needs, well, it already says for all of their cattle, l'chol behemtam. So why would it now need to say for all their wild animals? And Rashi thinks, no, that's actually a wrong translation. And following the Talmud, he says it's about our life, chai. In other words, that open space is there for their cattle, but it's also there for their spiritual life. It does not mean for their animals. That's channeling nidarim in the Talmud. And finally, in verse 4, the specifics of 1,000 cubits roundabout, elef amma saviv. And yet afterwards, in verse 5, it says 2,000 cubits. How do you reconcile? And by the way, Rashi and Ramban really go to the mat over whether this is a square of 2,000 cubits or whether it is a radius of 1,000 cubits. And essentially, is this a circle development or is this a square development? Fascinating if you're into urban planning. But how do we reconcile? They assign 2,000 amot, 2,000 cubits for them, the Levites round about their cities, and of those, the innermost 1,000 serves as the open space. The outermost is for fields and vineyards. The details may not do much for us, but the idea that we establish zoning, that we figure out what works for the human spirit, what develops, sorry about the static. Okay, what develops goodness? What's conducive to human relations? And it's there. So let us be inspired by the ancestors in each way that we can from, and yes, I see the text. There is an echo that I can't quite get rid of, but we're going to work on that with huge apologies. And yes, Garrett. So take in all that you can from Torah and find the antecedents of what we now know to be powerful, even in antiquity. Celebrate how far ahead of their time they were, and celebrate that we get to keep evolving this tradition and making it work for each subsequent generation. So the first aliyah was going to be Yer Amod Harav Gershom Ben Yitzchak Udevora La'aliyah Rishona Baruch Shem Tanan Torah L'Amei Yisrael B'Kedushato Hayim Kulchem Hayom. That's Vayikru. All right, we are, so sorry. This is chapter 31 of Numbers. Chapter 31, verses 48 through 50. This is on page 1105 in the New Plout, or 1226 in the Old. 1105 in the New, 1226 in the Old.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher cherchanu la'avodato v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. ויקראו על משה הפקודים אשר חפר הצבא, לאלפי הצבא, שרי האלפים, שרי המאות. ויאמרו על משה עבדך נשאו את ראש אנשי המלחמה אשר בידינו, ולא נפקד ממנו איש, ונקרב את קורבן אדוני. איש אשר מצא כלי זהב, את שדה וצמית, טבעת עגיל וחומז, לכפר על נפשותינו. נפשותינו לפני אדוני, ויקרא, לא, נפשותינו לפני אדוני. זהו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. אמן.
Okay. Yasher Koach, and thank you both. Can you still hear, and did this fix the echo? All right. Sorry about that. We are chewing gum and duct tape today, but somehow it is working with a lot of help and a lot of patience. Thank you all. Okay, so yes, I see the request on the camera angle. We're going to try. No promise. Yes. Yesh koach. Thank you. Second aliyah. Going to invite Bob Barkin up for a difficult one. Many of us saw the news that Dan Cederbaum, a giant of the Reconstructionist movement, who was actually Bob's predecessor as the international president of then the JRF, Jewish Reconstructionist Federation of Chicago, brother of our dear Jonathan Cederbaum. And our hearts are with Dan's wife, Karen, and their kids, Jacob and Sam, as well as with our own, with Jonathan and Alice and Louis and Dahlia. They were a family that was so close because of the movement and because of Dan's peripatetic leadership afterwards, including the Mordechai Kaplan Center, through which he brought Shabbatonim to different places, including right here. He has spoken from this very bima. He leaves us all too soon and leaves a titanic legacy. And in honor of that, we invited Bob to have this aliyah as a reminder that tomorrow night at 7, maybe 7:30, check the listserv, starting at 7 and going for a while. Tomorrow night, Shiva at their home on Greystone Avenue, Somerset, Chevy Chase. And our hearts are with them and with you. We are picking up now at the verses that we looked at before, chapter 35, verse 1.
11:23.
Thank you. That's 11:23 or 12:44. And then after 4 verses, we're going to fast forward and hear the very end of Numbers with those daughters of Tzlafkad, all 5 of them. And then we rise for the last verse and we say together, Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazak. Strength, strength, and we will be strengthened as the close of the penultimate book of the Torah. So find the right one. So there we go.
No one was more dedicated to reconstructing than Dan. And for that, he deserves our mention. Zikron up with bracha. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamporach. Baruch Adonai Hamporach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Asher kirvanu v'torato v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vadaber Adonai el Moshe ba'arvot Moav al Yarden Yericho ve'mohor sav et bnei Yisrael v'natnu laleviim minachalat afuzatam arim v'shavet umigrash v'arim svivotehem tidnu laleviim v'hayu ha'arim lahem v'shavet umigrashehem yiyu livahem tam v'lirchusham u'lechol chayatam umigrashe ha'arim asher tidnu laleviim makir ha'ir v'chutza elef amaha saviv. Fast forwarding 1 column to the very end. Vatiena machalaha tirza v'chodla umalka v'milka v'noa v'not tzlafchad livnei dodehen v'nashim mimishpechot b'nei Menashe ben Yosef hayu lenashim v'tihi nachalatan al mateh mishpechot avihen.
Last verse.
Please rise.
Can you pick this up and show the right? Oh, without your thumbs on the camera. Here we go. There we go. Yes. Ele hamitzvot v'hamishpatim asher tziva Adonai beyad Moshe el bnei Yisrael ba'arvot Moav al Yarden Yericho.
חזק חזק ונתחזק.
חזק חזק ונתחזק. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. A huge thank you. Do you want to say anything else?
No, just please.
Okay, all right. Our heart is very much with the entire Chicago Jewry and Reconstructionist community all over. And with Karen and family, with Jonathan and family. We're rolling back just a bit to chapter 29, the end of Pinchas, which is where all of those holiday aliyot are. Sorry about the scratchy sound. And our Rosh Chodesh reading picks up momentarily.
It is Pinchas chapter 28, verse 9. If you have the new edition of the Cloud, it's on page 1082. And if you have the old edition, it is not.
We'll have the page number in a moment, but first we pause for the Mishaberach Lecholim. Want to invite anyone who is holding in their heart a beloved for healing. If you are here and would stand in place, if you are online, please join, type in the chat their names, Hebrew or English, and we let them ensue as we hold in our hearts. Carol. If you want to say out loud, please. Avotenu Mekor habracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu v'kor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, a renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Refuah shlema, complete healing. For our third and final aliyah, Ken was the first to sign up, and it is birthday tomorrow. So with a Yom Huledet Sameach and great appreciation, he has both the aliyah and the reading. This is Numbers chapter 29. You're doing Shabbat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Verse 9.
maybe it's 28, actually.
Yeah, chapter 28.
Yes. Thank you. 1080, actually picking up 1082 in the new,
Yeah.
and 1211 in the old. We are starting at verse 9 of Numbers chapter 28.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch
Apologies for breaking into what's going on in the sanctuary, but if you can hear us, we
You're
can't
back
hear
on
you.
in time to hear the bracha at the end of the reading, and you missed how Rosh Chodesh was observed back in the good old days, and nothing else.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach, and thank you. And thank you all. Sorry, the cell phone that was the initial fix when this wasn't working ended up dying all of a sudden of battery. And so Matt Wald's cell phone to the rescue. Sound and audibility? No?
Sound is good, no picture.
Sound is good, no picture. How about that? Okay, well,
We have a picture.
to paraphrase me,
I have a picture.
We have a picture. We have a picture.
I have a picture.
Shelley
We have
doesn't,
a picture.
but it's Shelley.
Shelley, you check it.
Okay.
Shelley, you check it. We have a picture.
That's tied into this, and this wasn't picking up. Do you want it? Which way do you want the camera to face? Horizontal.
I have Fred's frozen lovely face in a photograph.
Matt Wald's screen, Shelley.
We're on it. Meanwhile, Hagba and Galila, Mark, yeah, and Galila was going to be Noah, wasn't it? How wonderful to be able to wrap things up. Ya'amod ha'magbia ta'amod ha'golelet. We rise as we are able. You've got it? Okay. Sight and sound, yes? Okay. Thank you. Again, apologies to everyone in Zoom land, a comedy of errors. And I'm reminded of the comedy routine. I think it was a now disgraced Louis C.K. But, you know, talking about back in the old days, how we would, you know, there's feedback when it, yeah, we learned that the hard way too. We use this as a paperweight to see how that works, right? Momentarily, almost there. How, when it comes to flying, we complain about all these little 20-minute delays and they ran out of our favorite ginger ale and right, and yet we're flying at 36,000 feet and getting to California in 5 hours, like a little perspective. So hopefully a little perspective from you on Zoom that we still have the possibility of being together, even if sight and sound cut out unpredictably. Just looking at profit. So, and oh wait, Marla's saying no sound.
I hear you.
Yeah, yes, sound.
Hear you.
We have
Oh,
sound.
thank you.
Yes.
I was looking at you, Shelley. There is sound for most people.
Everything is okay. We're good.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Shari. Okay. Traditionally, this would be the middle week of the Haftarot of Azhara, of admonition or warning. And it's taken from Isaiah, as is next week, which is Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbat of vision, the Shabbat of prophecy, where we are warned of our imminent downfall when our ethics don't rise, when our consistency isn't where it needs to be, and when the nation falls as a result of the collective set of individual shortcomings and iniquities. And then we have Tisha B'Av next Saturday night. We fast, we mourn, we lament, literally, and then we rebuild. So that by Tu B'Av, 2 weeks from today, we have the Sadie Hawkins Valentine's Day of the Jewish calendar. And we are back on track, and we are then into the 7 Haftarot of consolation, Haftarot de Nechemta, which will take us all the way to Rosh Hashanah, shockingly enough. So with that understanding in mind, we prepare to return the Torah to the Ark with Bob's presence, and we appreciate everyone's involvement, all the Torah readers and aliyot, the Gabayim from a distance, and the on-site help. And we are on page 441. We rise. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai ki niskab shemo levado horo al eretz v'shamayim 435 vayarem keren le'amo tehila lecho chasidav livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Now 441. Eitz chaim hi lemachazikim ba vetomcheha meushar derachem. דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם. Thank you, thank you. The community. And if you hear peals of laughter down the hall, I'm happy to say Tat Shabbat is back, with appreciation to Miss Ellie. And I hear them. And oh, and look who's there. Hey. I don't know if we want everyone in the same room, but if you guys can look in, and I'm just gonna show, hey, everybody, will you wave to everybody who's on Zoom?
Hi, Hannah.
Hey,
Annabelle, you want to
there's like 50 people on this little box. Isn't that amazing? Shabbat shalom. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Yay, good Shabbos. I hope to see you guys afterwards. We just did. But if you guys come back in 20 minutes, if you're still here, I'll give you a special tour of the real Torah. Okay? It's up to you, but if you like. All right. Shabbat shalom. Thank you, babe. Numerous energetic shifts over the course of a service as we lean into the losses in our lives before we build up again with an affirming Aleinu to send us out. Once again, this room had its largest capacity in a year and a half just yesterday, as we said farewell to Dick Taft, Shelley Ruddock's husband, in a just beautiful ceremony, and he accomplished so much in his life. You'll hear a little bit more about it if you're able to tune in tonight on Zoom, or actually attend in their Cabin John home, 81st Place, I believe, very close to here off MacArthur. 7 o'clock tonight, people are welcome to begin visiting. The Minyan is at 8:30 after sundown tonight, in loving memory of James Richard Taft. And again, Dan Cedarbaum, giant of our movement and brother of our beloved Jonathan Cedarbaum, Shiva Minyan is tomorrow night at 7 at their home on Greystone. We also, I'm sorry to say, I heard from Shulamit Wadowski that her dear friend was just buried, Miriam Lippet. Are you good? And also, many people in our community were just pained and devastated by the sudden tragic death of Jeremy Black, a member of Farbrengen and a remarkable human being. And the funeral was yesterday, led by our own Pam Summers, and there will be a public memorial service here in our space for Jeremy Black in 2 weeks. So if you're in overlapping community, please stay tuned. We remember as well those whose yahrzeits fall from this Shabbat through next. And I'm going to go out of the chronological order just to, there are 2 beloved members of this community whose yahrzeits are this week, and we will name them last so that we have their images in our mind fresh as we head into the Mourner's Kaddish. We are remembering Ellie Shukman's grandfather, Nissan Noah Moses, Bila Organics' mother, Madeline Sherman, Phil Zippin's father, Martin, Luther Jett's father, James Gordon Jett Sr., Noah Baum's grandmother, Zdeni, ZD, E-N-I. Is it? Oh, Ah, thank you. Zany Cohen Asher, Noah's grandmother, Carol Newman's mother, Elizabeth Feldman, Neil Gilman's father, Jeff, Gary Shore's father, Herbert, Carol Bearmott's father, Barton First, Judy Gelman's aunt, Evelyn Rodman, Melissa Fox's father, Erwin Spivak, Michelle Block's father, Howard, Jackie Goldberg's father, Herbert, Shari Book's grandmother, Celia Kalish. And tomorrow is the yahrzeit of Billy Plotkin, our beloved Billy, and the late wife of our dear Henry. And coming up later this week on Wednesday is the yahrzeit of Adrienne Kahn, our beloved member, Gary Grossman's amazing wife. We remember together. Inviting all those who are in mourning or commemorating a yahrzeit to please rise, page 451, Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal,
Yit Gadash, Shmei Rabbah.
Alma Divra Kirute Viamlich Malchute, Chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Bizman Karev, Amen. Yehesh Me Rabba Mevarach Le'olam Elamei Almayim. Yitbarach V'yishtabach, Yitba'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, Yitadar V'yitarev V'yitalal Shmei Dekudshah Le'ela Min Kol Birchata Shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Amira Amen. Yehesh Lama Rabba Min Shemayim V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imru
Amen.
Zichronam Livracha, and I happened to see you, Shelley, on the screen and saw Gary as well. Our hearts are with you and with Jonathan and so many others. So a blessing. Thanks, we'll try. We have been given a basket that may be able to continue at a good angle. How's that? Okay, you can see. Hopefully you can hear. Thank you. Nice. Yes. Geometry comes in handy. In the home stretch, we prepare to affirm, to take the memory of those before us with us, to build a better world, to make the most of the time that we have, and to fill it with praise, not just praise of the prayer book, saying as many hallelujahs and baruchs in a day as we can, though that is worthy, but praise through our actions, praise through our orientations to the world, praising the Creator by loving those who are created and protecting that which has been created. And in that sense, aleinu l'shabeach, it is up to us, it is on us to praise. Page 445. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach latet gidula leotzer breshit shenatan lanu Torah temet v'chaye olam nata betochenu v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz u'moshav yikaro hashamayim mima'al u'shchinat uzo begofei meromim u'Eloheinu ein od emet malkeinu efes zulato Kakatuv betorato, yadata hayom v'hashevota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, Bashamayim ima'al, ve'al ha'aretz ve'al ha'aretz, mitachad enu. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai leruach al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We may be seated. Honored to call on Ann Spielberg as a representative of our board for a word of welcome. And just had the chance to page through those of you who made it through despite the many hiccups. And I saw Henry, it's beautiful to see you as well. And our hearts are with all of you. And it is beautiful to see this panoply of beautiful beings on the screen as well as live. And despite challenges, we persevere. Talk to that.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone here in person and on Zoom. I just have a few announcements. So next week, as Rabbi Fred indicated, we have a number of programs for Tisha B'Av on Saturday, July 17th at 8 p.m., either in person or via Zoom. And then the next day on Sunday, July 18th from 1 to 3 on Zoom, we're going to join the Reconstructionist movement in a screening and discussion of 40 days of Tshuva. Then the following week on Friday, July 23rd at 6:30 p.m., there will be a Kabbalat Shabbat and picnic, including the chance to pre-order dinner or bring your own. And then we will hear Shabbat love songs in honor of Tu B'Av, which I understand is like a Jewish Valentine's Day. So we hope many of you can join us. The details are in Social Solidarity, and you can register and sign up there. And for those of you who are in person, we look forward to joining you in the social hall in a few minutes for just some challah and juice. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Good Shabbos. In a moment on Zoom, we're going to go to breakout rooms. There are, what is it, about 25, 30 active faces and a few more who may or may not be on. So make as many, Chana or whoever is the current host, make as many rooms as feels right, perhaps 6 or so. And you will have the chance to interact. We will have the chance to interact. And as you just heard from Ann, there will be many more opportunities. We are going to solidify the electronic connection up here for future weeks. We are also going to continue a healthy mix of options and look out over the course of the year in responsiveness to the public health reality, but also to the fact that many of us are traveling at any given time. We will continue to make available as well, sometimes only, sometimes in addition. And we look forward to seeing each other, whether 2-dimensional or 3. It is all good and it is all sacred. Page 459. Not as much fun as last week's America the Beautiful Adon Olam, but there's a time and a place for everything. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra le'eg nasa b'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra. Azai melech shemo nikra
ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אפקיד רוחי בעת אישן בעירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא. Big finish. אדוני לי ולא יירא. Good Shabbos, everyone. Kiddush, Kiddush, Kiddush. If we had it. Right? If we had it. Since we have it. Okay. Hey, Helen, how you doing? All right, thank you. For anyone who is still on. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael 465 et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam beni uven v'not Yisrael oti le'olam. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו. סברי חבריי. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam borei peri hagafen.
Fred, you have to make me a host, otherwise I cannot make break rooms.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem mi. Beteavon. Go ahead and eat it. If, well, except masks, you figure it out. Maya fehayom. Shabbat shalom. Maya fehayom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Good Shabbos, Fred. I cannot make break rooms because I need to be a host, not a
So the phone is
co-host.
at the stage of life where I'm trying to decide whether to replace the battery or retire the phone.
Hannah, Fred's not the host. It looks like Carol's the host, but I don't know where she is.
Oh, but I am not, I'm co-host now, so I don't.
I know, but Fred's not the host either. It says Adat Shalom is the host.
You know what? There's 21 of us. We'll just be
We could
our own
just-
breakout room.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so I can just unmute you, am I right?
We
I
can unmute
you?
ourselves at this point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, go and unmute yourself. I was so hysterical. Now I understand.
Okay. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Wow.
Everyone. You want to put on video or no?
No.
Well, that was interesting.
Oh, we quite clearly must have someone in the room as one of the gabbais.
Yeah. Well, I think Carol was there for a period of time because I can see, it looks like there's a camera set up in the video room in the back. Can you see that? And I saw her face at one point, but then she disappeared. So I don't know what the heck was going on, but in any event, it was a service and we got to watch most of it.
Thank you, Shelley, for interrupting. It was a very good interruption.
Yeah, but it's a work in progress. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
No, this is the first time that we've had such problems during this whole COVID period. I don't remember such chaos as this ever happening in the whole year and a half.
The laptop did not work yesterday for a period of time during the funeral service. So there must be some kind of problem with that particular laptop.
Because right at the beginning of services today, it was perfect. There was one facing the bima, there was one facing the congregation. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
As my grandfather would have said, it could be voice.
My point is that we should be grateful that we haven't had these problems at all in the whole year and a half.
Agreed.
Yeah, we should look at the bright side. We are all together. They were. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened like this before, which is amazing how well it's worked the whole time.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, be optimistic, guys.
But I think of all the places that has weak Wi-Fi, I think it's the synagogue area for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, but it'll get sorted out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does have weak Wi-Fi. And I think originally the thought was that was okay because they didn't want people necessarily using their phones in the sanctuary. But at this point, of course, we need it. So.
Yeah. I think at one point there was a suggestion that they were going to think about asking Verizon to put up one of those lovely fake trees that's actually an antenna, but I don't know whatever happened. Maybe they turned us down in any event.
But we should be able to install a router in the, in the sanctuary just from our own congregational Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I know that upgrading our technology is under consideration and probably more than just consideration.
Well, now's the right time to ask people to donate for it.
Is there any discussion of when we might have the onegs again, or is that not? Anybody have any news about that?
No news.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So
my guess is they're going to wait and sort this out with how things go with the variant. That's my guess.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, I think, to wait until after the holidays, probably, just because there's just too much going on in terms of organizing for that. So
I've been trying to write something for myself about the breakout rooms and how really incredible in a positive way they've been. And I think there should be a way that everybody could do that. I think we want to have some sort of a record, an impressionistic record, not a week by week record. And I wonder if there's some way we can ask other people to write a few sentences about what they've been like.
Oh, I didn't understand.
What do you mean?
Something about the breakout rooms. I personally think they've been a real lifeline. They were a surprise, I think a very positive surprise, and a way that we connected in lots of ways I didn't expect. And I'd be interested to know what other people think, and through writing probably.
The Elul Enlightenment period is probably coming up where they ask congregants to write in, how they're feeling as the high holidays approach. That would be a perfect topic. I would.
Yeah, I actually already saw something. If you wanted to, I saw something on the listserv, I think, with an email to, if you were interested to write to this person.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember who that person was? I remember seeing that too, Shalomit, but I don't remember who the contact person was.
I don't know, but a search for Elul will bring it up because it was just in the last like 3 days or something.
It may be in the last social solidarity or.
It is on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember.
But I agree. I think it's been tremendously positive, even in a way that the onegs aren't. I mean, it's because, it effectively requires you to sit at a different table every week.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you an excuse really for saying, well, I have to go home and have lunch with the kids. So.
I think in general, Zoom is interesting because only one person can talk at a time.
Yeah.
And it forces the rest of us to listen, and listening is so important.
Good point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's also so much quieter than the Oneg room.
This is true.
And you can get better coffee.
That's for sure, Gordon.
Well, 2 weeks in a row now, I've said the same thing. I wonder if there's some way to organize Oneg in the same way that breakouts are organized, where I think it'd be really complicated and people would probably rebel, but you could, have, there are 16 tables and you just pick a thing as you go in and you go to that.
Well, they tried with villages. Right?
They tried what?
With villages.
Oh, the villages. Yeah, I think villages are different.
That didn't work too well, did it? People just look, people, and I'm speaking for myself, really look forward to that time to sit and really schmooze with people and, choose who you want to sit with or go sit with somebody you don't know. That's something I certainly miss now.
But what we might try is some variation of musical chairs during the Oneg. At some point say, okay, everybody move to another table or something to that effect. It could be total chaos. Maybe wait until after most of the folks have gone through the food line, but that might be one way to mix it up a bit.
I got an idea. People go through and they take an Oneg cup, and the cups are usually just the 2 colors for the wine and the juice. But what if we, like, once every couple of months, we had like 5 colors, and then we just, whatever color you had, you went to that section, we just like color code, and then you'd go to that section, and then whoever went to that section, that's who you'd have Oneg with.
Okay.
Somebody's got to collect all these thoughts and send them to Rena.
Oh, that's what she needs.
Who would do that, would participate? Raise your hand if you'd participate in any of that kind of thing.
Well, that's really a good point. It sounds good in the abstract, but when you walk in the door and you see somebody that you want to go speak to, it may fall apart.
Yeah, I would only be able to be done like every couple of months, but if you did it every couple of months, people would put up with it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
True.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly pining to be together, that's for sure.
For sure. It's been great. Sorry I don't have my video on today. It's not a great day, but it's good to see everybody. I'm going off. Bye-bye. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. I just tuned back in to see where things were and realized somehow I'm still the host. I don't know how. So I hugely apologize that you had a
That's okay, Fred.
Okay.
But it sounds lovely, and the faces I see are great, and I'm waving at you, but I cannot start video. So
okay.
That's okay.
Yeah,
it's a little crazy. Is there still interest in like 2 or 3 breakout rooms, or did we miss the
Oh, I
moment?
think we're
We're doing
okay.
fine.
We're doing fine. Rabbi Fred, we've been talking about two things. One, how we really like doing some writing about how these breakout or breakthrough rooms, what they've meant to us. Number one. And number two, when the ONEGs do come back, a system of periodically kind of assigning areas so people sit with different people. So those are the two topics we've been exploring, which I think are both very
I
interesting.
appreciate that. Good advice. I've been hearing a lot of interest in the ONEGs resuming, but also as part of capturing the COVID era learning, making sure that this kind of spontaneous energy of you never know who you're going to see and mixing it up is a beautiful thing. So yes, and thank you. And if a couple of you after Shabbat
Yes,
would
it
put that
is.
in writing and just say, like, a bunch of people were talking and this is a shared thing, I will pass it along, because we are constantly thinking and coordinating and dreaming of what happens when we get back to the best of the old normal. So
Fred, who is the contact person for Elul Enlightenments?
I'm not, hold on. You were hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, we
I'm
heard
working
you.
on my speaker. I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Are you not hearing us?
It didn't work.
If he doesn't hear us, he cannot tell us that he doesn't hear us. I think yeah.
Sorry,
He was,
Fred, I was wondering if you know the name of the person who is coordinating Elul Enlightenments.
Oh, Elul Enlightenment.
Elul, yeah.
Yes. Evil Enlightenments would be a really interesting thing.
Oh.
To I don't think that's our shul.
Okay.
But not our vibe. Yes, Craig Lustig is.
Oh, Craig. Okay.
And
But
Robin,
Fred, it's not Elul, it's Elul.
and Robin Paley, closely connected to Karen on our screen, is coordinating with an eye to the youth and trying to get especially like middle school and high school to write and as well. And it's not just write, it's also, it could be to sing, to paint, right? We're casting the net wide this year. So.
Is there a theme already selected, or because early, you may not have heard this, but earlier, where is she? Charlotte was mentioning how she'd love to see people write about their experience with the breakout sessions and what they've meant to them during the COVID era, and whether that would be something for the subject of the Elul Enlightenments.
That is brilliant. Thank you, Charlotte. And I hope you write it because it fits the prompt. The prompt is simply, what does home mean, right? The idea of spiritual homecoming. But what I hope some of the answers will suggest is a little bit of the home is where the heart is, and home is where the mind goes, and home is wherever we connect, however we connect, and that we found home in breakout rooms, right? And that, yes, it'll be great to come back to Persimmon Tree Lane some of the time, but let's not over fetishize the building when it's the people that count the most and the connection. So that would be a beautiful direction to go in response to the prompt of what does home mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, so y'all keep talking and blessings. I'm waving that you can't see. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, Fred.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you so
Shabbat
much
shalom.
for running the service with so many technical issues.
Yeah.
Thank you for sitting through it all. Yikes. All right. Good Shabbos. Bye-bye.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Well, Shelley, I want to thank you for the many, many days you've been behind the scenes, trying to keep us all together, same page, etc.
Well, thank you, Vicki. I think, what we learned today really is we do need to have somebody there so that Fred doesn't have to do all of the technical fixes.
Yeah.
I mean, thank goodness Matt was there to step in when we needed him, but we do need somebody. I mean, this is the first Zoom service I've been on Zoom since we went back to the shul. I've been there and you know, you don't see any of this. And so I was curious, have we had other technical glitches along the way? This is the first time. Okay.
This in my recent past, this was the most, we had the most disruptions technologically. So, you know, I don't know what the issue was.
At least it was just us chickens. We didn't have a bar bat mitzvah going on. So luckily, you know, and we're all pretty flexible and happy groups. So.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's inevitable with electronics that there's going to be glitches and, you know, some days that are really not so great.
We were all good sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Malka. I see you in full picture.
Hi. Yeah, it's nice to, in the beginning I thought, oh, you know, it's a very small thing. And then it started to be so many things technologically that I didn't realize that so many things were not working. Goodness. And I want to thank you, Shelley, for being there all those times and going up there. And
I had no idea what I was doing. I was scared to death that I was going to, I don't know what, but or that I was going to move it too quickly. I mean, I'm no camera person by any stretch, but
well, it just seemed like
it worked okay. You could see the move around.
It was really done well. I guess it really works well when someone's back there fixing all the problems. Yeah.
I mean, we have had somebody, I think this might have been the first service where we didn't have anybody in the room, in the back of the room on the laptop.
Okay.
I know that I have Gabbai duty coming up in a couple weeks and I don't know how to do it back there. I mean, it's easier here, but I have no idea.
Yeah, Carol's been back there, I noticed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Phyllis Lerner has done it
Carol
too.
is the czar of all the Zoom, so she will teach you.
Yeah. Anyway, we need more people to step up for Zooming or for Gabbying. So if anybody, I got to tell you, I had no idea what it was going to be like, and I am not a techie, but after you learn it and you do it, and it's not that hard, and everybody's very forgiving when things go wrong, I must say. So.
Well, for me, it was the first time that I actually was supposed to do breakout rooms, and then I became hysterical because the picture of it disappeared. So I wrote hysterical to Carol, but she was not there. I called Fred. He didn't even know that he was the host. So it wasn't my fault. And every time when something went wrong, I thought maybe it's my fault. But you helped me with one thing, Shelley. You told me to put the page number. This was the first time I was a Zoom Gabbai on my own. I wasn't afraid, but I just was overwhelmed with everything. So I just needed to be told. And once I was told, I was fine.
Okay, I'd like to make an offering. My garden is doing quite well. And if anybody wants to pick, or I can help pick, I've got Swiss chard, I've got arugula, and also Malabar spinach. And if anyone wants Malabar spinach plants so you could grow them forever in your garden, then I've got that too. So you're welcome. Just email me or call me, and I'd love to have you over to help, because Bruce and I cannot eat all that. And it needs the arugula, especially, and the Swiss chard, it needs to be dealt with that day, you know, like cleaned and cooked or eaten raw. I mean, if you put it in the refrigerator after it's cleaned and chopped up, it lasts a couple days even. So I'm making that invitation.
Malka,
Thank you.
Malka, I thought you were going to offer up Aaron. Why don't you tell people what Aaron does?
Well, he's a techie. He's a techie. Aaron is working. He lives in North Carolina,
Oh, okay.
Durham, and he's working on his projects. Right now, he's making an app for other videographers to want to use, and he's applied for grants, and he's working very hard on that. And I even made, when he was visiting a little bit ago, I even made a little film, like a 30-second film with his app, and I love it. So when it becomes available, I'm definitely going to let you know.
So is it like a TikTok thing? Not that I even know what TikTok is
I don't
about.
know what that is, but no, it's something you work with it's video and phone, and you do things with your phone, and I'll let you know when the time comes out.
We'll get him to explain.
But it's quite interesting.
Sally, you know what is TikTok? You know how to use it?
What?
TikTok. Do you know how to use it?
Heck no.
Oh, me
I'm
neither.
old. How would I know from TikTok?
I'm older than you are. I have no idea.
Oh, but I want to let you know, as long as we're talking about good stuff, I've just been, I'm right now presently in two art shows, one in Annapolis and one in New Jersey at Mama.
And they are incredible. Excuse me, guys, she is fantastic.
Yes.
But also, I've been accepted at Strathmore, which is very
Oh,
hard to get
that's
into.
for you.
Mazel tov, mazel tov.
So it's going to show, there's an opening September 9th, and I think it's a real opening, right after Rosh Hashanah. So that's good. And then it'll show like all the way through October. So, and that's the closest. So it's right a couple blocks from my house.
Yeah.
And I'm super thrilled to be in that, because their standards are very high, and I'm real happy about that.
Yeah.
The other ones that, you know, I participated in the opening, the whole thing was beautiful. There is so much good art. It's incredible.
Hey, Malka, you got any chard?
Pardon?
Kale.
Kale. Our daughter, our son and daughter-in-law are feeding our 6-month-old granddaughter kale.
What?
Raw?
Kale
It's so hard.
sweet potato and stuff like that. The kid loves it. I watched her yesterday with my own eyes.
Well, it's cooked. It was
cooked and squished up into like a milkshake, but only it's kale and sweet potatoes.
Starting off the right way.
I don't think I heard about kale till some years ago.
Yeah, you're right. Me neither.
Wow.
Her decadency will be kale and sweet potatoes milkshake, huh?
Yeah.
Jeff, how are you?
I'm fine. Fine. It's good to see folks
Good
here.
to see you. And Vita, you're muted.
Mark?
Fine. How would we get in touch with that Strathmore thing, Malka?
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't gonna send anything out yet, just because it's September 9th.
Yeah.
But I can send you the dates of that show, Vita, if you'd like to know that.
Why don't you put it on the listserv?
Well, I don't know if it's ready to be put on the listserv.
Oh, okay.
Don't you think it's kind of early on?
Yeah, it's early. Wait a little bit later.
Yeah, right.
I'm in her women's group, so I get all the information. So I'm good.
Oh, yeah. All right. Talking about early, I'm also accepted in Brookside Gardens.
Ooh.
December 2022.
Oh, wow.
Through January 2023. So get ready. Put it on your calendar.
Well, good for you, Malka. That's really wonderful.
Okay,
they have that
from Rosh
section.
Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. That's it.
They have that section in the monthly newsletter, whatever it's called now, for quelling. And that would be a good place to put it. And then also the listserv closer to the time.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, but I'm feeling about myself all the time.
I
That's
think
all right.
that's okay.
It's okay, but you can ask your husband to quell about you.
And it's not just quelling, it's informing people, you know.
But she can have her son, Aaron, quelling about you. You will quell about him.
We want to know whether when we contribute the denim, do you identify this was this piece was contributed? I want to know if my old jeans are in any of your.
They possibly are. I have a lot of jeans and I do the wash. And then, you know, I don't know whose is whose, but you can assume that any of the pieces I show are yours.
Doing blue denim, or will you take black denim?
Oh my God. I'm now breaking out into other colors and other materials. Someone gave me a 1950s wedding dress.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I'm going to be cutting that up.
A denim wedding dress.
What kind of materials are you looking for?
It's not denim. I'm looking for other materials and colors. So like tablecloths and sheets and things like that.
Wow.
Any color and bright and maybe even crazy colors. Yeah.
That's good to know, because I might have some old sheets that would do the trick. 'Cause
Okay.
Get swamped.
African material?
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yes, but don't be surprised if they're all cut up and they don't
Oh,
look.
no, wait, it would, if you used it, you would get it for being used. I'll put it that way.
Yes,
She gives it to you.
absolutely.
You can do with this whatever you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, that'd be great.
I feel like we're all back in the schmucker trade.
Baby to his dog sitter, Hannah.
Oh, no.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Dog Mocha. Does he love to be a dog, uncle?
What?
I'm asking if he enjoys to be an uncle.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He's a Tio.
He's a Tio.
Right.
He is such a sweetie pie. I miss him.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. This has been wonderful.
Yep.
Okay, guys.
Shabbat
So now
shalom
you
to
have your
everybody.
Onig.
Shabbat shalom.
Personal Onig. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Janet, Gary.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, hi to
Shabbat shalom,
Jen,
Jenny.
Gary.
Shalom, everybody.
Sending kisses.
Shabbat shalom.
Bye.
Bye.
Vicky, your granddaughter is going to be a bat mitzvah in a short time, Aiden?
Yes, in November.
In November. Wow.
Yeah. It's going to be a very big deal. Let me tell you, we've got family and friends coming from literally all over the world. It's going to be it's a big deal.
Well,
And
it was like in her wedding, this was all over the world. Now it will be
exactly.
every
It's going to be exactly. Yeah, they're all in Israel right now, although it's a little complicated. They go every summer and the kids go to camp, but with this, that you have to isolate for the first 10 days, and it's gotten really complicated. Although Eden has already been vaccinated, she's 12, so
okay.
So she's been vaccinated, so she's starting camp, but the younger ones, can't go to camp yet. So it's they're sitting around. Let me put it that way.
Where are they? In what city?
They're in Tel Aviv. They're in Tel Aviv. Yeah.
Tel Aviv. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
Good
they
for
are.
them.
I'm sorry.
No, I say good for them.
Yeah. No. It's good. It's good. Okay, I'm gonna sign off. But
Okay. Bye.
great.
If I sign off, you're all out. So I have to wait for
Okay.
all of you. I don't want to kick you out.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay. Bye,
Shabbat
Vicky.
shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
We're going to sign off.
Bye, Jan and Gary. Look, good to
Hey,
see
Shabbat
you.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. And I don't know if Rabbi Fred is there or just his picture? Fred, are you there? No, Claude is not there either. So if I'm going to sign off, everybody will be off, okay? Bye, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.